Hi guys, so I'm going to read Tales to Astonish number 45. So, Tales to Astonish.
No! No, Ant-Man! Stay back! It's a trap! Don't try to save me! It's no use! You can't hear me! Nothing can save us now!
That's it, Ant-Man. You've blundered into my trap. And now, when I pull this switch, it'll be rid of you forever.
More villainous, more deadly than ever. Don't dare miss the return of Egghead. Ant-Man and the Wasp, caught in the terrible traps of Egghead.
This time you lose, Ant-Man. This time you die. The most perfect ant killer in the world. The Anteater. Lovely, isn't it, Ant-Man? A lovely, intricate scheme to trap you. And then, the simple, foolproof, escape-proof end of Ant-Man.
Fear is running through the ants like wildfire. They can't help us this time, Ant-Man. What are we going to do?
It's the most
deadly trap we've ever been in. But there has to be a way out. There has to.
Plot Stan Lee. Script H.E. Huntley. Art Don Heck. Lettering Art Simic. Egghead, the most brilliant antagonist the Ant-Man has ever faced, returns again. His twisted mind eaten with bitterness and the galling ache for vengeance. No living man has ever defeated the sinister scientist before, except the Ant-Man. And that defeat must be wiped out. Let us go back for a moment and recapture the thrills of the first time that Egghead and Ant-Man clashed. Remember, it began when the evil mental master was discharged from the government's Atomic Research Center.
You are beneath contempt, a man with your great mentality and scientific genius, attempting to sell secret atomic information.
Bah! To a genius like me, your insipid patriotic phrases are laughable. I sneer at you all.
Contacted by the underworld, Egghead agreed to concentrate his great brain power on destroying the Ant-Man. With cold, scientific precision, he undertook his dangerous task.
Ant-Man undoubtedly communicates with the insects he uses. I must find a way to do the same, and turn his own ants against him.
Finally,
completed. A machine that can translate words into electronic impulses, which the ants will pick up through their antenna. Now I will invade the Ant-Man's own domain.
Egghead quickly put his scheme to work. He communicated with the ants.
Obey my instructions, you of the Ant Kingdom, and I shall free you from Ant-Man's rule.
With the help of the criminals who employed him, Egghead committed a colorful robbery to lure Ant-Man to the scene. And then...
Ha! The bellows sucked you up and dropped you in the box lined with fly paper. You're helpless.
Not quite, Egghead. These electronically controlled springs in the bottom of my shoes can break the flypaper's hold.
Swing!
Then, aided by his ants, Ant-Man used some flypaper of his own, a huge sheet the ants dropped upon the fleeing criminals. Egghead had made his escape, and, in hiding, listened to the Ant-Man explain how he had defeated the unscrupulous scientist.
Egghead tried to appeal to the ants' sense of greed and vanity, but insects have no such emotions. Egghead misunderstood the psychology of the ants. They aren't my slaves. They are my friends and partners.
Defeated, hunted, the once brilliant scientist, his confidence shaken, became a bum in a Bowery flophouse.
All he does is mutter about ants. Must be some kind of nut. The ants, they were too smart for me. They defeated me. The ants defeated me.
Yes, it happened months ago. But last night, in that same flophouse,
You got all the others. We were lucky to get away, Twister.
Yeah, I tell you, Ape, with those Ant-Man loose, an honest criminal doesn't stand a chance. Especially now he's got the Wasp with him.
What was that you said? You spoke of the Ant-Man.
Let go, you kook. Forget what I said. Me and Ape ain't being here if the cops ask you. Get it?
You don't understand. The Ant-Man defeated me, too. Listen, we can help each other. Should I squash this bum, Twister?
Hold it, Ape. It won't hurt to listen.
it had been building up inside him. The hate, the need for revenge. And suddenly, despair left Egghead to be replaced by a driving, vicious need to encounter again the man who defeated him.
I'm going to tell you who I am, and then you'll understand. A plan is beginning to form in my mind. You mentioned the Wasp. Tell me all about her.
And that's the whole story. Ant-Man and the Wasp are partners now. Look, I remember how you almost beat the Ant-Man. Ape and me will work with you.
Good. First, we must find some hidden place where I can set up a laboratory. And I must make a new identity. Yes, the plan is beginning to form. Every man has his Achilles heel. We will strike at Ant-Man through his, the Wasp. We will capture her and use her as the bait for our trap to capture the Ant-Man. And this time I shall not fail. I know my antagonist better, and I am more fully aware of his powers. Through the Wasp, I shall crush him forever. First, I shall need some scientific equipment.
In the cellar of a deserted building, the sinister trio make their headquarters as Egghead sets up his lab.
With this machine, I'll be able to intercept, even scramble, messages the ants send to Ant-Man.
Okay. But when we gonna get into high gear?
Soon. First, I must complete my disguise and establish myself as Professor Carl Stryker, zoologist. Be patient. Our foe is powerful. We must not fail a second time.
Thus, Egghead puts his plan into action, step by cautious step.
So you can see, dear ladies, insects can be our friends, as well as our enemies. The problem is to understand them, to study and appreciate the intricacies of the insect world. I thank you.
So they're clapping, so.
Wonderful. A beautiful lecture. Most interesting meeting we've ever had. Such a fascinating man.
Among the large audience at one of the Professor Stryker's lectures are the famous scientists Henry Pym and young Janet Van Dyne, daughter of the deceased scientist, Dr. Vernon Van Dyne. Somehow, that man, Professor Stryker, seems familiar, but I can't remember where or how we met.
He must be a very brilliant man. He sounds so sure of himself.
To those who surround them in the crowd, they seem to be just a handsome, serious, intelligent young man and a lovely young girl. But, in reality, they are Ant-Man and the Wasp.
The time has come. I've been asked to lecture at the city zoo. It's what I've been waiting for. We will build a fascinating exhibit about wasps. I don't think the real wasp, whoever she is, will be able to resist it.
But how's that gonna catch Ant-Man?
And I be thinking, Egghead, what's in it for us when we get Ant-Man?
First, Ape, I will use bait to catch the Wasp, just as I will use her as bait to catch Ant-Man. Once the Ant-Man is out of the way, I will mastermind a series of perfect crimes that will make us all as rich as Croesus and completely safe from the police. That should answer your questions.
In the laboratory, Egghead and his criminal cohorts begin their work as the radio blares.
Each of these exhibits must be perfect. Potter Wasp, Mud Dauber, Mason Wasp, Paper Wasp, Bald-Faced Hornet.
And the Middleton Diamond has been placed in the hands of the famous diamond cutter, Hampton Myers, to cut into a pendant for the priceless Lady Elizabeth necklace.
Hear that? We should be.
Yes, Ape, and we will. That is the bait we will use to lure the Wasp into our clutches.
Several days later, at the zoo.
Place that one over there.
Don't know why you chose the reptile house for your exhibit and lecture, Professor. 'Cause it's warm. Now let's have less lip, eh?
After the zoo attendant leaves,
That guy had a point. Only one thing in the world I'm scared of. Snakes.
We have no time to fear of anything. Let's get back to the lab.
an hour later,
This is a blueprint of Anton Myers' diamond-cutting establishment. The eminent Professor Stryker visited him the other day. Ha! You see where the burglar alarm wires are situated.
Wow. With a blueprint like that, we can't miss. When do we hit the joint?
Tonight. Twister, this is an electronic de-wielding gun I've created. With it, you'll be able to burn the alarm wires apart without setting off the alarm. Ape, you will carry my insect message interceptor.
that night, a sleeping gas gun takes care of the watchman in the diamond cutter's building.
Quickly, Ape, give me the machine.
I'll get to work on the alarm wires. I think it would have been easier if we just grabbed the ice and...
It's best if you don't try to think, Ape. You haven't the equipment. Now I'll send out electrical impulses that will jam and scramble the messages. The watchdog ants will send the Ant-Man.
And, in Henry Pym's laboratory, message coming in from ants, but I can't make it out. Someone's figured out how Ant-Man gets his information, and is scrambling the impulses. A few minutes later, in the apartment of the lovely socialite playgirl, Janet Van Dyne.
Hello. Yes, this is she. Ant-Man. I'll be right over.
Minutes later.
What is it, Henry?
It's serious, Janet. I want you to wait here on standby. There may be need for the Ant-Man and the Wasp tonight. Listen, I'll tell you all about it.
Say, a hunk of ice this big could set us up for life.
Professor, I got to hand it to you.
Bah! When I finish off Ant-Man, this will be peanuts. Come, we must go now.
Then, in Henry Pym's lab, after an hour's vigil, the electronic communications machine suddenly clears up. Robbery at Diamond Cutters! Anton Myers! The Middleton Diamond. The famous necklace. We must hurry! Quickly using his shrinking gas, Henry Pym becomes the Ant-Man, and Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp.
I'll use my catapult to shoot me there. It's 22 Maiden Lane. Meet me there. I'll race you to the spot, partner.
A few seconds later,
Your catapult is still faster than my wings. Follow me. I've sent a message to the ants. They're waiting. Ah, a perfect cushion for my landing, as usual.
A few minutes later, Ant-Man and the Wasp arrive at the scene of the crime.
Too late. The diamond and the necklace are gone.
I was afraid of that when the messages were scrambled. Whoever did this is really clever. I'll bet there won't be a clue to be found here.
After an exhaustive search, Ant-Man's words proved to be prophetic.
You were right, Ant-Man. Not a clue.
Whoever it was is bound to strike again, and next time we'll be ready for him. Now I've got some thinking to do.
And, at the secret lab of Egghead, alias Professor Carl Stryker,
We did it! Now we gotta fence these things and lay low until...
Fools! All you see is what is in front of your eyes. These are merely the bait to catch the Wasp and Ant-Man.
Bait? No, you don't. Hand them back, big brain, or I'll pulverize you.
I'm with Ape. We got the loot, worth more dough than we ever dreamed of. Who cares about the Wasp and Ant-Man now?
Idiots! Ant-Man will eventually track you down. You'll never be free to spend your money. You must trust me. Haven't I done well so far?
I guess so. All right, we'll string along.
Good. Now get that fine wire. We've got work to do at the zoo.
For the rest of the night, the strange trio work in the reptile house of the zoo.
What's in this box? It's something alive, and it weighs plenty.
A surprise for Ant-Man. There, the switch is in place. Once Ant-Man enters, I'll pull the lever and send electrical current through the wires. We've strung at every crack that an ant can crawl through. Put that aquarium under the nest. Now to wire the little trap door at the bottom.
This is a waste of time. Why don't you just step on him when he shows up?
He's not that easy to step on, my friend. Besides, it's part of my plan. The jewels shall lure the Wasp here.
How do you know the Wasp will show up?
How could she resist coming to an exhibition about wasps? Then she'll see the jewels and recognize them. And when she tries to retrieve them, we'll have her.
The next day,
Many wasps use their sting to render other insects unconscious, then drag them to their nest for their young to feed upon. Now, here's an interesting oversized replica of a wasp's nest.
Something inside the nest. Sparkling. Jewels. They look like... They are. The stolen gems. But why were they put in there? Should I notify the police? No. I'll tell Henry and we'll... No. I won't do that either. He treats me like a scatterbrained little girl. And I want him to think of me as a full-fledged woman. A woman in love.
The wasp is somewhere in this crowd. I can sense it.
I'll show him I can do a job on my own. First I'll get the jewels, and then track down the thieves. For they can't be far from where the jewels are hidden.
that night, in her apartment, the lovely Janet Van Dyne becomes the Wasp.
There's the reptile house just ahead. Wonder what this wire is for. Oh well, it doesn't matter.
So intent is she upon her purpose that she fails to see the eyes watching from the shadows.
Be ready to move fast now.
I'm inside the wasp's nest. But what is this? Some strange sort of maze.
She's trapped. Twister, get the shoes I've wired, so the ants can't crawl up on us. Ape, get that iguana and put it in the aquarium. In a few minutes, the wasp will become frantic and send out her signals to Ant-Man. When he arrives, we'll introduce him to the deadly surprise we've arranged for him.
Inside the nest, the wasp knows that she has somehow been trapped by the jewel thieves, and, after a frantic effort,
There is no way out. I didn't want to do it, but I'll have to send out a call for help to Ant-Man.
her delicate antennae vibrate tremendously as the message is sent, and, "Foolish girl, I warned her not to tackle jobs alone. If any harm comes to her..." Minutes later,
Put on the magnifying goggles, so we don't lose Ant-Man.
She's inside.
as Ant-Man steps inside the nest, the master criminal pulls a switch, and...
Ant-Man, it is I, Egghead. I have returned to conquer you. You play the modern knight, so I'm giving you a chance to prove your prowess, as did the knights of old. Here is your lance, and there is your dragon.
I was a fool. I should have suspected. Only you could have thought of such a diabolical scheme.
But there is no time for more conversation.
He used the wasp to bait this trap. For that alone, I must pay him back. But first, I must defeat this iguana lizard.
Ant-Man coaches his lance, as did the knights of old, then signals to his ant-mount.
Charge!
Swerving, avoiding the lashing tongue and slashing feet of the lizard, Ant-Man closes in quickly, his lance aimed at a vulnerable spot.
I won, Egghead.
Not yet. This is only the first round. You're still trapped in that glass cage.
The ant-sized human crouches low, pressing a tiny button in his boot, activating an electronically controlled spring.
But not for long.
Ape, open the crate door. Hurry!
Where is the wasp? Answer me, Egghead, if you value your life.
The wasp means nothing to me. It's you I want, Ant-Man. And I'll get you yet.
Here I am, Ant-Man. I found the opening you fell through.
Thank goodness you're not harmed. Now, with the aid of our soldier ants, we'll tackle Egghead and his bully boys.
But when Ant-Man turns around,
The second trick in my bag, Ant-Man. An anteater. The most perfect weapon against ants ever designed. Ha ha ha! Beautiful, isn't he, Ant-Man? The ultimate weapon.
the creature's long, viscous tongue licks out, then flickers back into the small mouth opening, tauntingly.
Neither you nor your ants can escape. I pull this switch, and every crack in the room has a live wire across it that will electrocute any insect or insect-sized creature that attempts to pass over it. This is your finish, Ant-Man.
The huge anteater moves towards Ant-Man, its tongue darting in anticipation of such an unusual morsel.
Ant-Man, what can we do?
Stay back. I'll handle this.
His lasso, made of tiny strands of steel-strong synthetic fiber, snaps out and loops around the elongated snout of the ant-destroying creature. Then, Ant-Man gives a powerful yank.
Wasp, pull that switch to turn off the current around the tracks. Hurry!
Will do, boss man.
It's time to use our last weapon. These water pistols filled with liquid gas. This is one thing even Ant-Man cannot fight. Fire!
The pin Ant-Man used against the lizard. I've got it. At last I found my sting. The one thing, as the wasp, that I had lacked.
Quickly, the wasp flits from one to the other, using her newfound stinger on the hands to make them drop their deadly guns.
If you move, the snakes will strike.
I ain't moving a muscle.
Egghead! He's gone! Got away while we were taking care of the other two.
Though they search feverishly, they can find no trace of the brilliant arch-criminal. Then, back in their lab again.
Well, the jewels have been recovered, and Ape and Twister captured, but Egghead, the biggest prize of all, is still at liberty. As for you, young lady, don't you ever try anything like that again. We're a team, and we'll work as a team. Understand?
Oh, Ant-Man, can't you see that I'm a woman, and in love with you? How can a man be so brilliant, be so blind?
And in his own hideaway,
I'll be back. Each time I learn a little more, and the next time it will be different. Next time I'll set a trap that no human can escape. Not even Ant-Man.
and that's the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, that'd be appreciated. If you have any requests for me, just let me know down in the comments down below, and I'll tell you when I can do it. Any requests. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.